Hey there, Tiffany Thomas with WealthyTiffany.com, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the 10 rules of money that you wish you would have known sooner. I know there's a lot of things about money I wish I would have known sooner in my life. I would have been a lot better off, and I'm sure you have some similar feelings. And during this time especially, I feel like it's really good to go back to the basics of money. So if you are ready to dive in, hit that like button and we're going to get started. All right, you guys, let's talk about the 10 rules of money, and these are in no particular order. The first rule of money I want to talk about is setting money goals. It's really important to have a direction with your money and know where you want it to be going. Otherwise, you'll just be spending your money and then asking yourself, why is my bank account empty? We don't want that to happen. So if you set money goals, and I'm sure you've heard this before, pay yourself first, then you are going to be on a lot better track with your money. And different ways to do this are to actually write down your money goals. What is it you want to achieve this year, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or even just this month? Write those things down so that you can actually see those and have a reminder about what you're working toward. One thing I like to do is in my budgeting spreadsheet, I have a line item for a goal that I'm working toward. So if I wanted to build up my emergency fund, then I would say, okay, emergency fund, $50 a month or whatever it might be. And then once I achieve my emergency fund amount, then I can switch that out and say, okay, I want to travel to Italy. This will make money more exciting for you because you'll have something that you're actually working toward. So the first money rule is to actually set money goals. The second money rule is to spend less than you make. I'm sure you've heard this from a lot of different people, and it's true. You want to know how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. So you want to set up your budget. I like to call it a spending plan. I think that sounds a lot more fun than a budget. But you really need to track your finances and see what you're actually spending your money on so that you can spend less money than you make. And a couple of ways to do this are to set up a spreadsheet or even a Google Sheet with all of your income and all of your expenses listed out, so you can see exactly where your money is going each month, and then you can adjust accordingly. I also like to use a website or a free app that's called personalcapital.com. You can hook all of your financial institutions to that. All of your credit cards, your mortgage statement, your checking, savings, 401k, whatever it is. You can hook it all to Personal Capital and see your money in one place. It makes it really simple to see exactly what's coming in and what's going out. That way you can spend less than you make. And I did create a video about how to budget, so I will leave a link below and you can check out that video if you want more details on exactly how to set up your budget so that you can spend less than you make. All right, the third money rule is to have access to cash. And this essentially means setting up an emergency fund. So depending on your preference, you can set up an emergency fund that would be 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses, or even up to a year, or even less than that. It really depends on you and if you're able to sleep at night. So make sure that you have access to cash. And that could be in the form of a savings account. You could just have money sitting at your bank. And if you do it this way, I would recommend setting up an account with an online bank. They pay a little more interest, so you can make a little bit more on your money that's just sitting in your savings account. I also like to consider different ways that I would have access to cash. Personally, I have a lower emergency fund because I feel like there's other ways that I have access to cash if I needed it, but do what you feel comfortable with. And then the fourth money rule is to make your money work for you. Essentially, invest your money. This one is so important. You cannot leave all of your money sitting in your savings account and expect to retire, expect to become financially free. And this honestly doesn't have to be complicated. You can keep this very simple. Just invest in things that you actually know and understand. I have made the mistake in the past of investing in a certain life insurance policy that I didn't fully understand and regretted it. Ended up canceling it and lost thousands of dollars. So invest in things that you feel comfortable with and make as much of your money work for you as possible, because honestly, you will not be able to have the option to retire if you are not investing your money. And I have plenty of videos on how exactly to do this. So check out my other videos about how to invest in the stock market or real estate if that interests you. There's plenty of information. And especially where the stock market is going up and down right now, it's a really good time to get into the stock market because you'll start to see returns pretty quickly once the economy gets back on its feet. The stock market will rise and continue to rise over time. So get your money working for you. And then the fifth rule of money, and this one took me a while to figure out, but it's actually knowing your financial freedom number or the amount that you need to retire. I used to talk about this all the time with another coworker when we would be in the lunchroom eating our lunches together because we were pretty much the only ones that brought our lunches to work. And we would talk about this all the time, just asking each other, how much is it going to take to retire? And we would have no idea. Is it going to be $1 million, $2 million, $3 million? What will it be? And I started doing research on this, and I was so excited when I found the FIRE community, and it stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. And they have found this study that has been done. It's called the Trinity Study, and you can do a Google search for it if you're interested in the details. But essentially, you can calculate the amount that you need to retire. And all you do is take your annual expenses, not your annual income, but your annual expenses, your yearly expenses, and multiply that by the number 25. That would be the total amount you would need to have invested in order to retire, in order to become financially free. So it's important that you know that number so that you can work toward that. And of course, you can keep working after you reach that number, but it gives you the option to not work, or if there's something that happens, like what's happening right now in the economy and people are getting laid off or their hours are being cut back drastically, then you will feel more secure because you will have that money invested. And sure, if it's invested in the stock market has taken a dip, but that means that you still have money in there. And like I've taught before, the stock market will continue to rise over time. Yes, it will take dips, it'll take major dips, but over time, it continues to rise. So knowing that financial freedom number, that financial independence number, whatever you want to call it, really helps you stay on track to work toward that so that you will have the option to retire if you wanted to. And the sixth money rule is to focus on building wealth, not focus on getting out of debt. This one has to do with your mindset. So we don't want to constantly be worried about money and thinking, oh, I'll never get out of debt. We want to switch that mindset and think, I am building my wealth. Every payment that I make on my debt is building my wealth over time. So we really want to focus on, okay, what is going to build my wealth the most? And this really helps you shift your mindset to more of a positive money mindset instead of staying in the lack mindset. Instead of thinking, oh, I'll never have enough money, I'll never be able to retire. Switch those thoughts. Switch them to, I will have enough money to retire. I am working toward paying off my debt. I know when I started to do more of this, I started to think more positively about building my wealth. And by doing so, ideas would pop into my head on different ways that I could build my wealth. I have purchased 4 properties so far, and I sure didn't do that by thinking, oh, I'll never have enough money to retire, or it's too scary to invest, or no one's going to pay me rent, or I'll never find a property that's going to be a low enough price. You know, there's all these different negative thoughts that we can be thinking, but when we switch that mindset over and we start thinking, of course I'll find a property, you will, because your mind starts to work in that direction and you're no longer stuck in that lack or scarcity mindset. So really start to flip that over to building wealth rather than just trying to pay off your debt. And you'll see your life get a lot better. Rule number 7 is to make compound interest your friend, not your enemy. And what I mean by this is make compound interest work for you, not against you. So you don't want to be getting into bad debt, like credit card debt, and paying that super high interest rate because that interest compounds over time and it takes a lot longer to pay off that debt when compound interest is working against you. But when it's working for you, when compound interest is your friend, then you can see your wealth build exponentially over time. And let me show you just a quick example of this. I created a little graph for you guys so you could see the effect of compound interest over time. If you start out with investing $5,000, then you add $200 per month for over a 30-year period. That means you're putting in a total of $72,000. And if you look at a rate of 10% return, you are going to make over $474,000 from interest alone. You can see on the graph that green color is the interest that you are earning, that compound interest. That orange, yellowy color is the amount that you have put in, and that blue amount is just that $5,000 that you originally put in. So you can really see the huge effect of compound interest if you are using it as a friend and not as an enemy, if it is paying you instead of you paying that interest. Money rule number 8 is to give back. This can be in a number of different ways. If you belong to a church, it could be by paying tithing to that church, or it could just be giving donations to a particular charity that you find really helpful. Or if there's something you're passionate about and someone is starting a business, you could invest in that business. There's a number of ways that you can really give back, and not only with money, but also with your time. And I know when I have done this, I've gotten way more back than I ever gave. All right, we have 2 money rules left. So tell me in the comments which money rule has been your favorite so far, or which money rule you wish you would have known about sooner. All right, money rule number 9 is to continue learning about money. We need to continue to be teachable and be humble and be able to learn from others. And when we do this, we can learn from others that are successful and others that have made mistakes as well. So if we are keeping that open mindset and being willing to continue to learn, then we can improve our financial situation way more than if we were just closed off thinking, okay, yeah, I know the best strategy and I'm just going to stick with it. And one of my favorite ways to keep learning about money is to listen to my favorite podcast, which is Choose FI, Choose Financial Independence. They interview people that talk about how they've been able to achieve financial independence, or just someone that has kind of started their own business, or those that have been able to invest their money better. There's all different examples on there, and I have learned so much. There's just little things that I pick up here and there that I can implement into my own life. You can also learn from mentors. I've had 2 in particular, one that is a friend of mine and one that is a previous boss, and they are both super successful with real estate, and so I ask them numerous questions. So keep that open mindset and continue to learn about money. And this brings us to the last money rule number 10, and this one is to spend based on your priorities, not someone else's. I feel like this is one of the most important money rules because sometimes we get caught up in keeping up with the Joneses, right? Keeping up with our neighbors or our friends. If they're going to expensive restaurants, then we go to expensive restaurants. If they're buying a boat, we're buying a boat, even if we don't really like boating. And that's not really going to bring us happiness in our lives. So once we take a step back and we are more conscious with our spending, we're spending on things that are a priority to us, then we're going to be happier. And it's not about deprivation, it's more about optimization. So it's not about never going out to eat, if that's what you love to do. It's about going out to eat and then not spending money on going out to a movie if that's not really your priority. So really think about what your priorities are, what your values are, and start spending accordingly. I love this example from Ramit Sethi. I think that's how you say his name. He wrote a book, I Will Teach You How to Be Rich. And in there, he gives an example of one of his friends who loves to spend money on shoes. So she will spend anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per year on shoes. And some people think that she is crazy, but here's what he points out in the book. He says she has a high-paying job. She maxes out her 401k, she invests some of her other money, all of her expenses are taken care of, and she loves shoes, so she spends money on shoes, and she's not afraid to buy the expensive shoes because that's what she likes. And that's what money helps us do. If we are spending based on our priorities, then yes, we can buy as many shoes as we would like, or we can travel wherever we would like. So really cutting back on things that aren't really important to us gives us more money to spend on things that we really enjoy. So keep that in mind when you are ready to swipe that credit card, when you're ready to make a purchase. Just ask yourself, is this something I really value? Will this bring me joy? Or will it not? Once we start spending based on our priorities, our lives are going to be a lot happier because we'll have money to spend on the things that we really enjoy. And now that you've heard all 10 money rules, tell me in the comments which one was your favorite overall, and which one would you wish you would have known about sooner. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That will really help me out and we can get this content out to more people. And as a side note, if you're interested in getting 2 free stocks, Webull is doing a promotion. If you open a free brokerage account, you get 1 free stock, and if you deposit $800, then you get a second free stock valued up to $1,400. And then you can do whatever you would like with your $100 and your 2 free stocks. I'll leave my referral link below and you can check that out to get your 2 free stocks. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.